Dear students, this week there is a big issue, a big trouble. One of us, one of our compatriots, has been put in jail in Japan. Who is that man? His name is Carlos Ghosn. It's not the first French you have heard of course. It is the former CEO of Renault, Nissan, and Mitsubishi Motors, a sort of monster of the motor industry worldwide. The fall of Carlos Ghosn is the just latest in a series of shocks involving some of the country's biggest companies. Carlos Ghosn is now in a tiny cell, with just 30 minutes of daily exercise to break the monotony of detention. Though Japan has found it hard to muster a shred of sympathy for a man presented as a colossus of the global car industry until his rapid downfall just 5 days ago. But however badly the affair reflects on the former chairman of Nissan as a business leader, his arrest last week over allegations of significant financial misconduct allows us to focus equally serious questions about the health of Japan's corporate culture. It will be the theme of this lecture, of this video clip. Because, Carlos Ghosn is maybe a little bit dishonest, but it underlines what happened to him, underlines a sort of bigger problem, bigger issue that can concern the whole Japanese society. Critics have attributed the scandal to the executive's imperious personality after prosecutors arrested Ghosn on allegations of understanding his income in financial statement by almost 40 million euros over a 5-year period. But that is only part of the story. While corporate governance scandals are not unique to Japan, there are certainly unique cultural factors that mean bad business behavior is allowed to go worse and worse in Japan. Observers often blame poor corporate oversight and the dominance on Japanese boards of company insiders, almost always middle-aged men who have formed impenetrable networks during careers spent working for the same company. Instead of exercising vigilance against potential wrongdoing, employees, even those at senior level, are expected to maintain harmony and avoid gaining a reputation as a troublemaker. Given the strict hierarchies in Japanese society, expecting individuals to denounce or even criticize their peers, or even worse, their seniors, is culturally impossible. The consensus-driven and long-winded nature of Japanese decision-making has in some cases led to a lack of willingness to be accountable and a tendency to avoid the consequences until forced. As an example, do you remember the Olympus scandal? Olympus, a company that makes part of medical stuff. Michael Woodford was lauded by some as a champion of corporate transparency when, soon after becoming the first foreign chief executive in Olympus in 2011, he exposed systematic accounting fraud at the Japanese medical imaging company. His colleagues, however, viewed him with contempt, a pariah who, in his role of chief whistleblower, had breached Japan Incorporation Code of Silence. He was forced to dismiss, fearing for his safety and also the safety of his family. Japan. As it turned out, the Olympus scandal was a mere foretaste of what was to come. 4 years later, Toshiba, which makes items ranging from laptops to nuclear power plants, revealed that it had hugely overstated its operating profits, ultimately by almost $1.2 billion. Last year, the car parts maker Takata filed for bankruptcy protection after deadly faults in its airbag triggered the industry's biggest ever safety recall. No one here heard about it. More recently, Kobe Steel, admitted falsifying data about the strength and durability of its aluminium and copper products, which are used in the transport and defense industries. And last October, KYB, a Tokyo-based hydraulics firm, admitted falsifying inspection data for equipment used to protect hundreds of buildings from major earthquakes, including venues of the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. There is much that differentiates the ghost case from other Japanese business scandals. The evidence against him was reportedly built around information from a Nissan whistleblower proof, according to some observers that Western-style post-Olympus checks of power are beginning to take hold in Japan. In addition, the allegations center on an individual rather than a company-wide attempt to cover up wrongdoing. But despite Nissan's attempt to contain the fallout from their former chairman's disgrace, questions were being asked about its internal governance, even as its chief executive, Hiroto Saikawa, portrayed the firm as a victim of the dark side of the ghost era. After digesting the tumultuous events of the previous few days, Japanese newspapers were united in their disgust of the ghost allegations, but hurled a similar invective in the direction of the Nissan executives, who have now turned on their former chairman. The Asahi Shimbun, the biggest newspaper in Japan, urged Nissan to fully disclose the results of its internal investigation into Ghost, and Greg Kelly, an American representative director, was also being arrested over the affair. The company is in danger of falling into dysfunction unless it does its best to disclose whatever it can to its shareholder and comes up with measures to deal with the current crisis, the newspaper says. Attempts by Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to introduce measures designed to improve corporate governance and shore up Japan's reputation among overseas investors have had mixed results. Since he began redrafting the corporate code in 2014, there are signs that firms are being more responsive to long-ignored activist shareholders, and there are more outsiders sitting in company boards. But the change have done little to address either the culture of secrecy or the strict hierarchical management structures that encourage misconduct. Corporate governance in Japan remains elusive because corporate culture here remains parochial and dominated by insiders. Boards provide spotty oversight because they embrace an averted eyes approach to their duties in the get-along, go-along ways of Japan incorporation. As the appetite wanes for heaping scorn on Gon for his personal shortcomings and his disdain for the Japanese qualities of modesty, restraint, teamwork, and egalitarianism, the focus is expected to shift to criminal investigation and what, if anything, Japan's corporate world is doing to salvage its battered reputation. Part of the solution lies in making Japanese company boards more diverse. For example, we could imagine that any real movement to change the corporate culture, so, for example, more women can operate at a board level with equal levels of authority, would certainly create a seismic shift in the way Japan does business. So, what did you learn from this? Do you think that the problem lies only in the responsibility of Carlos Ghosn? Or do you think that maybe we can broaden it and learn something about the traditions, corporate traditions, of our Japanese friend? It's up to you. Bye-bye!